The organizing committee, we're just going to spend a few moments explaining some of our own connectedness to the topics that we have been discussing over the past 2 days, and pose some questions to the audience, and then we can engage in a little bit of a dialogue and discussion about this before our remarks and closing remarks to wrap up this weekend. So we'll go ahead and start with some introductions of ourselves. So maybe Netta can start.
All right, can you hear me? Okay. Since you're all up front now, you probably don't need it, but that's okay. So again, my name is Netta Avineri, PhD student in applied linguistics here, and we're good? Cool. And I think we just wanted to give you a little bit of a sense of our own research. We'll just give you like a sentence per person, but it wasn't by chance that we all decided to help with this conference. Our research also reflects our interest in social issues and applied linguistics. So my research is actually focused on endangered language pedagogy, so it's focused specifically on how Yiddish in secular contexts is currently taught. So I'm very interested in the notion of endangerment and discourses of endangerment and how that's used strategically within certain contexts. So I think that it was a natural progression to be involved in this conference. So
Lauren, Mason Carris, and is that okay? I think you heard me speak a little bit yesterday about this dream that I had coming to the Academy as a practitioner of ESL teaching, and really what interested me about the students that I worked with was the way that accent marked their identity. So this idea of accent and the production of what we perceive to be authentic and inauthentic accents, which also kind of moves forward into more kind of anthropological linguistics and the ways that we mock certain accents or mock certain speakers of, or these, characters of accents. And so really looking at the racialization of accent and language production is, my broad general research interest. But then coming to applied linguistics and having, I have to mention, I can't leave today without acknowledging the formative training and formal and formative training that I had in language teaching by the lecturers that have supported us here today in TESOL, and how that support and applied linguistics also has enabled me to kind of now see that dream kind of come together. So of course with everybody else's help, but as my own kind of interest in pedagogy, practice, identities, and accent.
Hi, my name is Obianuju Anya, and I'm a doctoral candidate in applied linguistics, and my specialization is second language acquisition and also service learning. I participated in this project because I believe fundamentally in the idea of social justice in applied linguistics, and applied linguistics as a practice of social justice. And also my research has to do with African American second language learners, and particularly their issues of identity, racial identity, ethnic identity, and gender identities, how they construct and negotiate it in the second language learning process. So I was especially moved by yesterday's presentation of Dr. Noma Lemoyne, who talks about African American language learners in terms of academic English mastery, because they come from a home background where they speak a non-privileged version of English, and this speaks very profoundly to me in my research, because a lot of the research that has the few studies that manage to touch on African American learners come from a deficit perspective, saying that some people have even suggested that maybe we shouldn't teach black children in America foreign languages or second languages because, well, they can't even speak English. This is the perspective. And people have even suggested that they have cognitive problems or innate or latent linguistic problems and use that to explain their absence perhaps in advanced language programs. And I study language learners, or African American language learners, from a successful perspective. I want to know what the successful learners are doing and how that can be replicated. So I'm looking at multilingual African Americans and also looking at issues of identity and culture within the language learning community of practice, like the classroom, to see how are their identities being engaged in this class. And Bonnie Norton has been such an influence and model to me in terms of investment. I want to see how African American learners are invested in the practices of both their language learning community and the target language speaking community. So this is why I'm here, and I'm also extremely concerned about the idea of marginalizing entire populations because of the way they sound, both on a personal level and also society.
Hi, well, my name is Valeria Valencia. I am actually an international student here. Because of the way I speak, I haven't had any problems, or I haven't been, I guess, signaled for my accent. In fact, I have been complimented because of the accent I have, and they always ask me whether I'm a native speaker or not. But even so, I'm very, very interested in how people in general discriminate against other people because of their accent. And I'm particularly concerned about Mexican indigenous language speakers in Mexico.